Hey family and friends, I am here with another video. Today I want to dive into my thoughts and reflections on the late great Mr. Kevin Samuels. It took me a while to be comfortable making a video like this because of all of the highly emotional responses for and against Mr. Kevin Samuels. Someone did ask that I do make a video talking about my thoughts. So here we go. I first want to say that I've been watching Kevin Samuels' content for over a year. And just before his passing, I was watching very regularly his videos on both YouTube and Instagram. Now, a lot of you may know that I did study social sciences, and someone who is a student of social sciences is always studying. So not only did I feel benefited by the information that Kevin Samuels was giving to his followers, but it was also just fascinating to me from someone who studies social sciences. So the first thing, or the second thing, is that I know that anytime there is someone who is trying to advance Black men, the image of Black men, the role that they play in families, the power that they have in society, anything like that, it's very dangerous work. So, with that being said, the context surrounding his passing was pretty upsetting to me because I knew that the work that he was doing was dangerous. He had a lot of projects that were going on behind the scenes, all for the advancement of Black men. Whether we agree or disagree with his approach, they were not in the best interest of whoever you want to say they are. So I'll let you interpret that how you want. I'm not going to say that there was any kind of foul play in my opinion, but I do believe that he was doing dangerous work. The next point that I want to make is that I don't know Kevin Samuels. No matter how many hours of content that he provided online, no matter how much he said about his views, what we see is an online persona. We will never truly know what anyone online thinks and feels, how they live their lives, who they truly are until we spend significant time with them. And even then, you may still never really know a person. Heck, sometimes, we barely know ourselves. So for that, I was always able to give a lot of grace in the ways that I perceived his message because I don't know him. What I will say is that there is a very deep need for change in our society, and I'm going to speak specifically about Black American society. We have broken families. There's a lack of accountability and natural instinct for both our men and our women. There's a very unhealthy reliance upon the strong Black woman, as well as, strangely, a resentment for her from both Black men and Black women. So we're also experiencing violence from every angle, from within our community and from without. And the list goes on. And the broken family is both a perpetuator of and perpetuated by these dire circumstances that we're in. And I would encourage anyone to look up what is called the Mouse Utopia experiment. And this is something that is talked about a lot in wife school with Roots of Royals. The experiment took place where the government provided these mice everything that they needed and put them in close quarters. And the men lost their natural instincts to provide, and everything was just downhill from there until all of the mice died. And that is similar to what we are experiencing in our community. So while I didn't always agree with Mr. Kevin Samuels' treatment of the women who called in, I had to extend grace because we have to understand that he is a product of these broken families, this traumatized state of living that a lot of us are in. And I just understood that there was a passion there from him to change the way that our children grow up, and so that they can be healthy, so they won't have the anger and trauma that he has against the opposite sex. So yeah, he could have been nicer, but at the same time I understood his frustration. So the next thing, I do have some notes here just to keep me on track as usual, is again, as a social scientist or from a social science perspective, I learned so much from watching Kevin Samuels' content. I saw the results of males and men who have been traumatized by domineering single mothers, from the lack of present fathers, and also the trauma of trying to live up to both realistic and unrealistic expectations from women in the dating world. And for the women, I saw a lot of women who don't really know who they are. They don't really know what's going to make them feel fulfilled in their lives and in relationships. And they also were clueless as to what an actual man is, what they value and want in a woman, how they interact with women. And it was just fascinating to see the consistency of these themes. So, yeah, I learned so much, and it felt like a privilege to be able to observe these dynamics because we don't always notice patterns in our day-to-day lives. Sometimes we look at them and think they're one-offs, but the number of people who exhibited the same behaviors over and over again was just really fascinating for me personally. Also, there were a number of times that I felt what people might call triggered by what I learned from Kevin Samuels. And I think that is the case for a lot of women, which explains why so many women were always so angry in the comments about, the way that he treated women and the things that he said. And even after his passing, people were not very nice. But for me, although I did feel triggered, and this was particularly when it came to comments about age, because technically, according to Mr. Kevin Samuels, I would be in what is called the danger zone, or also a leftover woman, over 30, unmarried. So that always, kind of scared me because I do want to, be married soon and have a family. But although I didn't like those reminders, at the same time, I appreciated those doses of reality because it encouraged me to not live in a fantasy world that I can just keep doing whatever it is that I'm doing and that everything is going to magically work out in a way that it hasn't worked out yet. And it encourages me to put different practices in place, to put more effort forth, to have an outcome that is more favorable for me, because I do want a different outcome than the one that I was getting in the past. So a lot of women did not feel the same way. Instead of seeing these reminders and doses of reality as an opportunity to learn and change, they seemed to become, understandably, completely unreceptive to any of the helpful nuggets of advice that Kevin Samuels presented, because there was a wall up once they felt uncomfortable and they felt violated by what he said. They were completely turned off, and I don't blame them. I don't. But at the same time, it's sad to see people living lifestyles that aren't producing the fruits that they deep down inside desire for themselves, and just hope for a different outcome through doing nothing differently. So the last thing that I want to say about Kevin Samuels right now in this video is that I understand. Sorry, I had a notification on my phone. But I understand that a lot of the thoughts and views and positions that he presented were not necessarily just his own. He repeatedly reminded us that these are the things that men think. And, he has been an image consultant for men. He's worked in sales. He's helped men with relationships. And he's been in barbershops and had friends in high places. So he knows. And, he is a man himself. So he has the inside scoop of what men are saying when women aren't around. So to be able to get a glimpse into that world and understand men in a more deep way was just very eye-opening for me. And lots of men that I know would comment that, yes, these are the things that we feel, and these are the things that we feel we will be shunned for expressing. So they keep it to themselves and they try to go along with whatever society is promoting. And, it's something that's still, deep down inside of them. So I thought it was a good thing that we all got to see the reality of how men feel. And also now we have an opportunity to address the deficiencies that we have, both for men and women, in order to promote the health of the Black family. So these are the thoughts that I'm comfortable sharing at this point about Kevin Samuels and his message. May he rest in peace. So hopefully I didn't upset anyone too much by my thoughts. I tried to say them as objectively as possible. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, feel free to comment below. And I would also love if you could give this video a like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Bye.